The world produces approximately 4 billion metric tons of food a year, but roughly 30 to 50% of it goes to waste, and that's according to a report from the Institute of Mechanical Engineers issued earlier this year. Joining us now from Chicago with a closer look at the issue of global food waste is Danielle Nierenberg, the co-founder of Food Tank. Danielle, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Danielle, how big of an impact will New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg's new composting plans have on the city and beyond the city of New York?
I think the biggest impact that Mayor Bloomberg's plan will have is setting an example for other big cities and municipalities. Composting in New York City will prevent around 1 million tons of food waste from ending up in landfills. That's enough food waste to fill 4 Statue of Liberties. So the impact can really be tremendous. Again, if other cities follow this example, we can not only prevent this enormous amount of food waste, but we can also mitigate climate change. As food decomposes in landfills, it releases methane, which is a very powerful greenhouse gas, 23 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So we're really, again, helping mitigate climate change through this program.
Well, you mentioned climate change and energy, and the New York City Department of Sanitation says that some companies could process food waste into biogas, which could then be used to generate electricity. How would this work, and how likely is it that this type of situation could help a city with energy costs?
It's a really exciting initiative, and it's something that's already taking place in smaller cities and really all over the world, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, where biogas is being used to heat stoves for cooking, provide electricity. And again, as food waste decomposes, it releases methane, which can be channeled to be used as energy, again, in homes or businesses or restaurants.
Now, New York, within the U.S., is not the first large city to set up such a plan like this. As you've mentioned, other cities have done it. Seattle and San Francisco come to mind. They've been doing it for quite a while now. Is this trend catching on? What does it need to what needs to happen for this trend to really succeed?
I think it's an exciting thing that this is becoming more in vogue, preventing food loss and waste. And we've seen over the last few years international leaders really taking on this issue in a big way, as well as smaller places like San Francisco and Seattle. Last year, Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, issued the Zero Hunger Challenge, and a big component of that is preventing food loss and food waste, and eventually making the zero food loss and food waste in the entire food system. In China, Premier Xi Jinping's initiative to reduce waste has bolstered a project called Operation Clean Plate, which is working with restaurants to reduce portion sizes. Because of cultural norms in China, ordering excessive portions or more portions than anyone can eat is a sign of status. So really helping educate consumers and businesses about reducing that waste at that level.
Well, you mentioned the international scene, and Americans reportedly throw away 1/3 of the food that they buy. Which country is the most guilty of the biggest amount of food waste? Is it the U.S.?
It is the U.S. We're wasting a tremendous amount of food, anywhere from 30 to 40%, and that results in about $180 billion of waste from food lost each year. So we have a long way to go, but again, programs like Mayor Bloomberg's, what's happening in other cities, is really a good way to take on this challenge. And again, not just prevent food waste, but save money as well. I think we forget that this is also an economic issue.
So to that point, what can we as consumers do to help reduce global food waste in our everyday lives?
We can do a lot of things. The biggest one is probably realizing portion sizes. I think our eyes are often bigger than our stomachs. We buy too much at grocery stores and big box stores. We order too much at restaurants. Really realizing how much you can eat in one sitting is a big first step. We can also better educate ourselves about expiration dates and use and sell-by dates from grocery stores, and not throw away food before it can be used. And we can also learn how to utilize leftovers better. I think a lot of us are very used to just throwing away leftovers at a meal, but learning to incorporate them in other meals can be a big step.
Okay, thank you so much, Danielle Nierenberg, co-founder of the Food Tank. Pardon the pun, but that's certainly food for thought.